Some stories are meant to stay buried. Welcome to the darkness.
It was just an old porcelain doll, forgotten on a dusty shelf in an antique shop. Its glass eyes seemed lifeless until the first night I brought it home. At exactly 3 a.m., a whisper drifted through the darkness. It didn't call for help. It called my name. Arjun had always loved collecting antiques. Old clocks, faded photographs, and forgotten relics fascinated him because every object seemed to carry a piece of someone else's history. One rainy evening, while exploring a narrow street lined with antique stores, he noticed a porcelain doll sitting alone in a cracked glass cabinet. It wore a faded white dress. Its golden curls were tangled with dust, and its blue eyes seemed unusually lifelike. The shopkeeper quickly stepped between Arjun and the display. The old man said quietly,
That doll isn't for children.
I'm not buying it for a child.
The shopkeeper's smile disappeared.
I'm saying it shouldn't belong to anyone.
Despite the warning, Arjun bought the doll. The old man handed it over with trembling hands.
Whatever happens, don't answer if it speaks.
At night, Arjun placed the doll on a shelf in his bedroom. Nothing happened. He even laughed at himself for expecting something supernatural. At exactly 3 a.m., he woke to the sound of a soft whisper.
Arjun?
His eyes snapped open. The room was silent. He checked his phone. 3 a.m. He searched every corner of the apartment but found nothing unusual.
It speaks.
Convincing himself it had been a dream, he went back to bed. The next morning, the doll was no longer on the shelf. It sat in the hallway, facing his bedroom. Arjun frowned. He was certain he hadn't moved it. Trying to stay rational, he returned it to the shelf before leaving for work. When he came home that evening, it was sitting at the dining table. Its head seemed slightly tilted toward the front door, as if it had been waiting. That night, the whisper returned.
Arjun?
This time, it was louder, closer.
Arjun?
He froze beneath his blanket.
Don't leave me.
The voice sounded like a frightened little girl. Slowly, he reached for the bedside lamp. The room flooded with light. The doll sat in the chair beside his bed. Its glass eyes reflected the light like tiny mirrors. Its lips remained perfectly still. The next morning, Arjun searched online for the doll's history. After hours of searching, he found an old newspaper article. 20 years earlier, a little girl named Meera had disappeared from the same neighborhood where the antique shop stood. The only thing ever recovered was her favorite porcelain doll. The case was never solved. Determined to learn more, Arjun returned to the antique shop. It was gone. The entire building had been demolished years earlier.
Excuse me?
Confused,
he asked a nearby shopkeeper.
There hasn't been an antique shop there for at least 10 years.
Arjun felt a chill crawl down his spine. He looked across the empty lot. For a brief moment, he thought he saw the old shopkeeper watching him. Then he vanished into the crowd. That night, the apartment grew unnaturally cold. The whisper came again.
Arjun, help me.
The doll slowly turned its head without touching it. its tiny porcelain hand lifted, pointing toward the basement door. The basement had always been locked. The landlord claimed it was unsafe, but the old rusted padlock now hung open. Arjun descended the creaking stairs with only a flashlight. Dust filled the air. Cobwebs covered forgotten furniture. At the far end of the basement, he discovered a small wooden box. Inside it lay faded ribbons, children's drawings, a tiny silver bracelet engraved with one name. Suddenly, the flashlight flickered. The whisper became louder.
Behind you.
Arjun spun around. The doll stood at the bottom of the stairs. It hadn't been there a moment earlier. Its eyes no longer looked like glass. They looked human. The basement door slammed shut. Darkness swallowed the room. Tiny footsteps echoed around him. Not one pair, dozens. Children laughed softly. Then all the voices stopped together. The doll whispered one final sentence.
They never found us.
The floor beneath Arjun cracked. Hidden beneath old wooden boards were small skeletons. The missing children. For decades, they had been buried beneath the building. The police uncovered the remains the next morning. The news spread across the city. Families finally learned what had happened to their children. The apartment building was demolished. The basement disappeared forever. The doll was placed inside an evidence locker, locked away, never displayed again. Or so people believed. Months later, a young collector walked into an antique market. On the highest shelf sat a familiar porcelain doll. Its white dress was spotless. Its blue eyes shimmered in the dim light. The shopkeeper smiled.
It's just an old doll.
As the collector reached toward it, a tiny whisper escaped its lips.
I know your name.
Would you keep the doll if it whispered your name? Tell me in the comments. Some stories never truly end. And if you enjoy chilling horror stories,
Subscribe if you dare. Sleep well if you can.